Welcome to the Moms I Know with Sheila Walsh-Denton and Maria Anderson-Farner. Two moms on a mission to reclaim childhood and take you from surviving to thriving on your parenting journey. The Moms I Know is your go-to source for motivation, inspiration, and resources, and real conversation about motherhood and parenting with intention. Thank you for being a part of our community. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Hi, this is Maria.
And this is Sheila.
And we want to welcome you to the Moms I Know, sign of the times. Here we are. We wanted to get on live today with all of you to really process what's going on and to let you know that we're here for you. We're here to support you. And it's a very, very challenging time globally, I think. And so there's so many different things going on. And so we just wanted to make sure that as these changes are happening, that you know some basic ideas to help support you. As you know, like we said in the thing that we put out, school's closed, what now? And that also could be, work is online or this is going on. So just welcome, you're in the right place.
Yeah, and it's important, for both Maria and I, we have a lot going on, and it is what I realized today as I was feeling the heightened awareness, my daughter's last day of school was today for all three kids actually, but the youngest is 11, and really preparing her for that, but also preparing myself and realizing that, a big piece of this is self-care, is really being gentle on yourself and, the self-care piece. Because when we react, we're reactive right now. And when we are so, it hurts the children. So just being remembered to fill your cup too, Mama, and and know that Maria and I and other people are here to help. There are so many helpers. Within the last 24 hours, I have seen so many people step up, offering classes, offering free resources. And so that's what we're doing right now. Maria and I just want to share what we know to support you, because we have homeschooled our children and we know a thing or two. And more. So with that, we're going to share our screen right now because we did a quick little presentation about Guardians of Childhood. And so Guardians of Childhood is one of the first tenets of family schooling. And I'll let Maria, as I pull up the screen, Maria, you can talk about family schooling.
Okay, great. We're so excited about this concept of family schooling because whether your children are in public school, private school, or homeschooled, whether they are going to be home for a short period of time or an indefinite period of time, or whether this is a choice that you're making to kind of shift your life into more of a home-based living, we're really looking at this whole concept of living and learning together as a family. And so, this obviously what's going on in the world, we don't wish for this, and we just want to make sure that everybody takes care of themselves, takes care of their families, and is coming from a place of knowledge and information and hopefully, optimism. But we also feel really strongly about this concept of guarding the guardians of childhood, and that we want to protect childhood, and we want to nurture you and your family, and we want to help you strengthen your family culture. And so really this came about, Sheila and I were talking several years ago about this whole concept of protecting childhood. And I think now more than ever, we really need to focus on what can we do to help minimize the impact on our children and on our families, and really come from this place of, everything is going to be okay. And as the parents, we're here to take care of you, our children. So this concept of protect, nurture, and strengthen really is growing out of sort of the immediate things that are going on, but also this overarching idea of really taking care of our entire family and keeping childhood. And when things are going on in the news, children can really be awakened very quickly. And we want to lessen that. We want to kind of let them be in their dreamy state, in their imagination, and in their place of joy. We don't need to let this trickle down. It's okay to be matter of fact, but also positive.
And so that brings us to the first tenet of protect. And just what Maria said, it is our job to reassure our children that everything will be okay. And so part of that is making sure that we do not have the news on all the time, that we're not constantly hearing, because it's a little bit scary. It's a little bit, hearing this, and children do not have the ability yet, at certain ages to know that they're okay. Like Maria just said, does that mean, the questions, does that mean that grandma and grandpa, does that mean our elderly neighbor, does that mean, that this is going to happen? Is it going to affect them? Schools are closing. I'm in California, and all 3 of my children are out of school next week. They're at the age, they're a little bit older. We still don't have much of the news, but, younger, they're closing preschools and everything. So what are we saying to them of how this is going to change?
And
so
looking at this from the child's perspective, I mean, oh my goodness, we get this additional family time. And so, I remember as a child, whenever something like this would happen, it was much more short term usually, but, it was like this opportunity then for the family to come together and discuss, how are we going to handle this as a family? How are we going to, like Sheila said, filter the things that we don't need to be allowing in? How do we structure if parents are working from home and that's a new paradigm, or if parents are juggling things? We have to be thinking about all of this, but I love to keep calm and carry on. There's so many quotes about how we need to just get up and do what needs to be done for the children. And I think that this is one of those times where we really want to look at it through the child's eyes. So from the children's perspective, woo! More family time. This is what they're wanting. And so if you're already homeschooling your kids, that, and you're keeping calm and carrying on. If this is a whole new paradigm for you, we have so many resources for you. We have, 2 seasons of podcasts that you can refer back to. We have a whole upcoming program about homeschooling that will be coming out over the next week. I mean, the timing is actually kind of fascinating how this is all, here we are launching this for families that are choosing to homeschool right at a time when a lot of parents are not choosing, but having to do this anyhow. So we really are looking at you making choices through the children's eyes. So from the children's perspective, this is a great opportunity to strengthen your family culture, to bring people together, to talk about what is positive, to talk about what this means for your family in terms of time together and rhythm together. And then obviously I'm going to let Sheila talk about, this next piece about looking at obviously protecting our health.
Yeah. And so we had it both in protect and strengthen, because we want to protect our immune systems. And the best way to do that is sleep, making sure your children are getting good quality sleep, and yourself, that you're not up, doing, staying up online, reading the news and everything like that. Filtering the news from you too, I think is important, as well as hydration is super important. And really looking at sugar, processed foods, taking those, being minimal with those, because you have this time. So why don't we get in the kitchen together? Why don't we make soup together? Why don't we do little things that our children can do in the kitchen and having real food? So again, we are able to make these experiences and have them cultivate this family culture. We are also saying, what?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
It's also, go ahead, Maria.
Okay. I'm sorry. Just this concept of, it's something positive that we are doing. It's something that we're saying, okay, we can't control some things, but we can control what's happening in our house. And so we are going to eat healthfully. We're going to cook together. We're going to slow down. We're going to really come together and do all the things that we can to boost our immune system, to strengthen our family, and to have fun together too.
Exactly. So look at what you're eating. When you go to the stores, buy the vegetables, buy the fruit, make smoothies, make popsicles, just have some fun with that. And another way to protect, though, is essential oils. Both Maria and I are big believers in essential oils, and the certain oils that you're going to want are the protective blends. There's some major brands out there like doTERRA that has On Guard, Young Living, Thieves, but both of those have clove, eucalyptus in them. And then there's also the blend of oregano, thyme, and lemon. These are really antiviral, antibacterial, and really good to have on hand.
So we're talking about strengthening our immune system. Obviously, we're not making any claims or anything like that, but just we want to boost our immune system. We want to make sure that our cells are as healthy as they can be to reject anything that might be coming, any seasonal threats that are coming. So diffusing in households also great, because that's affecting the whole all of the air that we're breathing. So we love that. And then cooking with them, the herbs, thyme, oregano, marjoram, we want to be adding those, the spices as well, the clove, the cinnamon, the spices. And so, we're, somebody just added in the chat room this idea of, imagine what this would do to our whole global, immune system if we could all cut sugar for several weeks and we could, strengthen ourselves. And so I think part of this is that we're all waking up to the reality of what do we really need to do for our personal health, our family health, and then our communities, and reaching out to our global health. So yes, we want to start with that protecting.
Love it. Okay, I cannot see the chat room because I'm sharing the screen. So,
I'll stay on the chat room.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks. So we have protect. The next one we're going to do is we're going to nurture. It is our job to nurture our children through these challenging times. And, what an opportunity to spend time together, and so it's really a lot of parents are going to be working from home that have not previously worked from home. Their children are going to be working from home. So one thing about homeschooling that we know is that you don't recreate the classroom, and similar with the work, you recreate the office. You get those times. So maybe if you're working from home, you get up a little bit earlier and you spend a few hours getting your work done, so that when your children get up, you can spend a little quality time together, play some cards, play some checkers or dominoes, and then you can, again, your child's going to start work. So then, you get another 1 hour, 2 hour block. So you kind of time block, and then you're going to get outside, really kind of maybe making a calendar together of just for next week, because my kids right now, it's just 1 week they're off. But making a schedule might be helpful. So Maria, do you want to go in a little bit about the space and the time?
Well, it's a wonderful opportunity for everyone to slow down. And I think there's not a person that I've been talking to who has disagreed with the idea that we need to slow down. Our whole pace of life has sped up way too much. We're doing too much. We're pushing ourselves too much. And so, we're waking up to this idea of, okay, how do we really find healthy use of space and time? And so I'm a real fan of rhythm. Sheila and I talk a lot about rhythm, and you just mentioned that, this kind of, time blocking, but also looking at things from a child's perspective, where they need to have sort of the big play, and then the more focused time, and then more time to be outdoors, and then we can come in for more focused time. Finding rhythm around the meals is really important. Finding rhythm in the evening so that we're, not on screens, that we're really getting into that sleep rhythm as well. So when we talk about nurture, we can talk about so many things, and, we have over several years on so many of our episodes. And so this is like this tiny little snippet to just say, relax and take advantage of this precious time. We also talk a little bit about this idea that, these little windows that happen, we can't get time back. And so when we have this time, we want to really maximize it. Instead of it being a huge challenge, we can look at it as an opportunity. And so again, we definitely want to spend a lot of time outdoors, getting lots of fresh air, getting sunshine. We want to get that vitamin D. We also can, talk about vitamin C a little bit, and but there's nothing that takes the place of nature. Even something that I've seen recently has talked about forest bathing, so that we get out in nature, we get out in the trees, and we're going to get rejuvenated from that. And then, of course, when we're talking, Sheila, did you want to add something about that?
Well, earthing, right? Forest bathing reminds me of earthing, walking barefoot, just having your kids walk out in the backyard barefoot. And I want to really just quickly kind of go on to this, is that I know a lot of parents are feeling this overwhelm, and we're not saying this is going to stretch you. This is going to stretch you. But one thing that I sent out a note to my children, my daughter's my daughter's peers parents, is let's do some outdoor field trips, places where we're going to be outside and but exploring. Like we could co-op that. You take the kids on Monday for 2 hours. I'll take the kids on Tuesday for 2 hours. So that way you can get work done too. Really trying to be creative and have fun again, because this is awesome time. I mean, you know what I mean? Trying to change the perspective there.
Right. I mean, we have to, we can't change what is happening. We can only change our attitudes about it. And so, Sheila and I want to come from this place of optimism instead of fear. We want to come from this place of protecting our family life. And so that is really important. Another comment was, snow and mud here. And it's like, of course, we can only go barefoot in some places, or, if you want to let your children do that and then come in by the cozy fire. And so, we've got families that we're working with in Hawaii, and we've got families that we're working with in Minnesota and the East Coast and, and all over. So, obviously do what works for you, but there's so many different modalities. Saunas have come up quite a bit. And so in these northern climates, we can do the saunas and really strengthen our immune system that way. And then we want to get into this concept of reading books, playing games, learning together. And so family schooling is all about living and learning together. And so the whole aspect of really looking at what it is you're bringing in. There's so many wonderful board games. There's the classic literature. We have our classic literature book list coming out soon. We have podcasts about that. And so there's so much that can be learned there. And then it's such wonderful family time. And board games, that was a part of my childhood. I know, Sheila, it was a part of yours. And so many of the families we work with just really love to take that time to play together and to have fun together. So really important. And to avoid the screens, because I've seen also things.
And just
but this concept of the artificial light too is weakening our immune system. So for our children, we want to be really selective, and we want to make sure we're just optimizing their health and also our health.
Exactly. I just want to say that we just got, if you go to our website, there is a new book list there just for parents. So just to get inspired as well. So we are protecting, nurturing, and the last piece is we're strengthening. This is a time to really strengthen your family culture. This is a moment in time, a moment in history where kids, like 10 years from now, they're going to remember this time and how they were affected, because this is a moment. So what we want you to really prioritize what is important. Really they're asking us to stay inside, and we just, like Maria said, and we're kind of have said this, but just to recognize what is important. And then if you're feeling overwhelmed, ask for help. Look up and ask for help, because if we can give you resources and for online help, but we can also, we have a lot of people in our community that we know, and we can connect people.
I think part of this really is about connection. And so, we're reaching out to all of you today to strengthen that connection, to look at how we can offer help in challenging times. Another comment in the chat room about, in the cold weather, then we run in and warm up by the fire, and then also virtual museums. I mean, so much is going online now. And so there's so many things that we can find that are educational, that are interesting, that are mind expanding, instead of just holding up in our homes and feeling isolated. And so, we're reaching out to you. We're encouraging you to ask for help. We're encouraging you to really look at how do you look at, your physical and emotional family health.
Mm-hmm. And again, to strengthen with the immune support is strengthening your immune systems. So cod liver oil, vitamin A, vitamin D, making sure that you're getting those in balance, vitamin C. So this is where some supplementation would really help. Maria and I have done, the Moms I Know podcast for 2 years now, and we have episodes specifically on games, episodes specifically on books, episodes specifically on homeschooling. And like she said, it's the timing, is that we are launching a 6-part podcast series on homeschooling, and we're launching it on Monday, ready to go to talk about family schooling, to help you, really navigate this unknown time. And, we just really want to support family and connect with you.
So we even have an episode on immune support. And so, whole episode. Yeah. So we want to encourage you to be thinking about these things. And then as we go more into the whole family school realm, because, our podcast is about family life in general. So whether you homeschool your children temporarily or as a philosophy, we want to encourage you to think about these sort of the 5 tenets. And we talked about, obviously, Guardians of Childhood is the first one, but then we are also looking at creating that time and space that our families really deserve. And then we're looking at cultivating courage in our children through adventure and outdoor education and risk-taking. We're talking about that classic literature and really diving deep into why classic literature is so important. And then our 5th tenet is this concept of celebrations and rites of passage for children. So within all 5 of those, there are lots of different areas where we can be talking about, family ideas and adventures and nutrition and sleep and everything, and the rhythm. But we're breaking it down into these areas because we feel that these are the pieces that, when you go online, there's so much information about this, that, or the other thing, but we have sort of this bigger view of family life. And what is so fun about this is that Sheila and I have been working with families now I was writing something up and I realized we've been working with families for a combined time of over 5 decades, and we've been parents for that time together and
combined.
Right. So we have our own children, and now I have grandchildren, and we've been working with the families that, we've both interacted with over many years. And so we're coming from a place of looking at things with a longer view. Not just how do we do this? I mean, we're also addressing how do we do this tomorrow or today, but we're also looking at, as the children grow. And so if you're out there and you have very young children, the things we're talking about are foundational, and then they come back around and we are harvesting the fruits of our labor in the early, that we've set in the early years, and then we're harvesting that in the teen years and into the adulthood. And now my children are talking about the things that they did in childhood. So just saw another thing in the chat room about mindfulness. Yes, movement, breathing, yoga, all of those things. So important. And we will be talking about all of those within the areas of, these 5 sort of pillars of family schooling. And for adults right now, I think that that's so important. And I think that both Sheila and I have sort of deepened our practices of mindfulness. And one thing that I love to talk about and that I've really added to right now is this morning gratitude. And so I think we can kind of wrap up with this concept of, yes, take a breath, mama, papa, yes, we can't change this, but we can change the way we're looking at these situations. And how do we take that deep breath? How do we count our blessings that we have these, our families, and that we can take this time to slow down and really focus on what matters in life. So we're so grateful that all of you are here and that we're looking forward to continuing this journey together. So thanks for being here.
Be well.
Thanks for joining us today for the Moms I Know. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. To get the show notes and resources mentioned in today's episode, visit themomsiknow.com. For information on Maria's programs, visit thefutureoffamily.com. And for information on Sheila's programs, visit purplebeatfamily.com. Don't forget to subscribe and rate us on iTunes and follow us on Instagram at The Moms I Know Podcast. Until next time, have a joyful family journey.